For the record, will you state your name, please?
Florence Stoller.
Mrs. Stoller, when were you born?
January 29, 1919.
Which makes you what age today?
101 and almost a half.
101. Not bad. Where were you born?
In Marcy Avenue in Williamsburg, in my grandmother's house.
Your grandmother's house in Williamsburg. See, I thought you were born in Manhattan, but that's where you lived, right?
Yes, on Henry Street.
Henry Street, which is lower,
on the Lower East Side.
Lower East Side. What was your childhood home like? What was the house like that you lived in, you grew up in?
Then we moved from Henry Street to the West Side, to Greenwich Street, and it was all right, but we had to walk up on the 9th Avenue L past my bedroom constantly. It was pretty noisy.
How close to the bedroom window was the subway train?
That wasn't a subway, it was an elevated.
Yes.
Elevated.
How close was the window to the L?
Oh my goodness, I never measured it. I was a little kid. It was pretty close. I could look out I looked out the window and I waved to people.
Nice. Were these tenement-style apartments?
Excuse me?
Were they tenement-style apartments? The style of apartments?
Well, it was a 2 or 3 story building. We lived 1 flight up, I believe.
How many rooms were
It wasn't a really big tenement. It was a small tenement.
How many rooms were in your apartment?
I would say maybe 4.
4 rooms. And you have how many siblings?
At that point,
Yeah.
I was the only one, I think. Then we moved over to Washington Street, about 2 blocks over, right below Canal. And we had a larger apartment, and my father had a what they call a junk store. Now it's an antique. It would be an antique shop.
Uh-huh. What kind of stuff did he sell in there?
I really can't answer you. He had a horse and a wagon. I know that.
Yeah. Were there cars on the street? Do you remember as a little girl?
I remember trucks and cars, and I remember a lot of horses and wagons, and the policemen on their horses riding through the streets, which nowadays we don't have that at all. I haven't seen a policeman on a horse for years.
The streets were at that point mostly still cobblestones or pavement or what?
I think paved. I don't remember. I was too young to remember all these details.
Yeah. Your first language was what?
Yiddish.
Yiddish.
I learned how to speak English when I went to school.
At what, like 6 years old kind of thing?
No, I went to kindergarten, and I remember my teacher's name even.
What was her name?
Miss Delaney.
Miss Delaney.
She was the assistant principal and the kindergarten teacher.
Where was that kindergarten?
PS 44.
Uh-huh.
Right on Hubert Street, which I believe the school is now a warehouse of some kind. Hubert Street is a small, obscure street in Tribeca. It was not called Tribeca in my day.
Right. What are the big changes that you've noticed in Manhattan versus when you were a girl?
I don't know if I noticed. I got married. I had 3 children. I didn't go around noticing things like that. Whatever occurred, and that's all there is to it.
They don't have any horses and buggies anymore.
No. Everything was replaced by cars, right.
Did you know that in 1919, when you were born, that was the year that the electric blender and the pop-up toaster were invented?
No, I did not know. That's very interesting.
What do you think are the most amazing inventions that you've seen in 101 years?
Oh, God, you got me. I still tell you that my big interest in life was not invention. It was taking care of my 3 girls and my husband and a job.
All right, jobs. Let's talk about your jobs. You had a lot of different jobs, right?
Well, I started when the children when Susan was able to look after the younger one. Judy was already big enough. I got a job with Philip Grossman, and I was there for 10 years as the bookkeeper, a part-time job, and it was a very, very good job.
I got some inside information
And
from Aunt Susan that you had a job that was a wake-up service.
Oh, that was a brief thing in my life. I created that. Oh, I had read something about it, so I created it, and it didn't last too long because I used to wake up my husband in order to wake up the people if I was using the phone, and he objected strongly. So that lasted very short time.
Your job was to call people and wake them
Yeah,
up?
like 5:30 in the morning.
Like a hotel concierge?
Oh, something like that.
And
they would mail me a check. It lasted a short time.
all right, what about the fish cakes?
That also lasted once. Terry was a very small child, and she kept standing on a little stool and helping me cook, which was not a good idea. So that job lasted, I think, 1 or 2 times also. 1 or 2 weeks. Friday fish cakes I created for the fish store downstairs.
So you sold them to the fish store downstairs?
No, they employed my services. They gave me all this merchandise, and I made them, and they sold them. It wasn't, you know what, I didn't create this job. They created it, and I did it, as far as I remember.
How long did you make the fish cakes for?
I'm telling you, for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because there was too much interruption in the house.
All right, what was the job that involved homework?
Oh, that was a good one. I worked for the United States Pencil Company, and I became sort of a subcontractor as well. My sister Pearl helped out, and I used to carry also with Terry and carry the bundles to 14th Street somewheres, United States Pencil Company. And Pearl helped me work, and I paid her what I thought was fair because I had to make something on the deal and carrying this extra stuff.
Pearl was your subcontractor.
Excuse me?
Pearl was your subcontractor.
That's all right. Well, she was my subcontract.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the job, though?
Oh, we used to bring. They used to bring. I brought home all sorts of little cards on which was information about what this company and that company owed. In other words, I was a human computer,
nice.
Sort of, and we would look at these, and we had to make out a statement with all the information that was in the card, and then I brought it back to the United States Pencil Company, and they took care of it. I didn't do the mailing. We did the writing. That's it.
The United States Pencil Company.
Yes, and that was a very nice job.
Wow, nice.
It lasted a while. That's before I went to work for Philip Grossman.
And did you meet dear old Dad at a political event?
At a social club, but this was politically oriented, yes.
Right. Now the politics of this particular organization, did it make you at all worried in the early 50s when Joseph McCarthy was stomping around? No,
I was there mostly for social activities rather than politics. I was only interested in getting dancing and having fun and stuff like that.
And you met a dance partner?
Yes, he was a good dancer. I wasn't a great dancer.
What year did you get married?
1940.
1940. And how many years were you married to dear old
68 dad? Years.
68 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Not so long.
No,
there are people on TV that are married 70 years.
The time went by just like that, huh?
Not really. We had plenty of ups and downs.
Yeah. What were the ups?
Well, 3 lovely children, and all my children got got degrees in college. I didn't have any drug problems or anything crazy like that. The children, outside of regular childish illnesses, I don't think my children gave me any struggle that I can think of offhand.
And how many grandchildren do you have?
3 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren.
5 great-grandchildren. What are their names?
Great-grandchildren?
Yeah.
Is Isabel.
Yeah.
Rooker.
Yeah.
Tucker.
Yep.
Bowman.
Yep.
And Malcolm.
Excellent. Wow. Nice. Do you remember the first Broadway show you ever saw?
Not really, but I did see all the good ones in the golden years, like
Who were your favorites?
My Fair Lady and Ethel Merman and Oklahoma. Everything good. We used to belong to TDF, and whatever bargains I always had a love for the theater. Whatever bargains they offered, we took advantage of them.
Did you sit in the orchestra or in the balcony?
No, are you kidding? Only in upstairs. For $3, that's what you get, is upstairs.
I'm sorry, how much was the balcony seat?
$3.
$3.
Yes, that's in 1945, 50, etc.
What were the biggest shows you think you remember seeing?
One of the greatest was My Fair Lady,
Yeah.
which I loved a lot. And I loved Ethel Merman. My husband loved Ethel Merman too.
Who were some of the other big stars you remember seeing back then on stage?
Oh, Ray Bolger,
Yes.
Danny Kaye
Right.
at the Palace,
You see a big concert?
Judy Garland.
Oh yeah, at the Winter Garden,
No, at Judy Garland at the Palace.
the Palace.
But I saw a West Side Story at the Winter Garden.
Ah, right. I remember you mentioning the Winter Garden.
Excuse me?
I remember you mentioning the Winter
Yeah.
Garden. Yeah.
West Side Story.
West Side Story at the Winter Garden. How do you think theater has changed?
I haven't been to the theater now in 10 years, so I really can't tell you.
Well,
And
you went to the theater for about 50 years there, right?
yeah, well, how it has changed now, I don't know.
How did it change in that small window of 50 years that you did experience?
How many changes?
And that, you know, for the 50 years you did go,
I don't know. You keep asking me questions about things that I guess I'm not that nosy or notice. No, I didn't notice. I'm at an age where I can't remember everything either.
you remember a lot. You remember
I'm doing my best.
You and dear old Granddad used to travel a lot.
Oh, we did after the children got a little bigger. Yes, that was a great way. Twice a year we tried to take a vacation of it.
About what age were you when that started?
Well, Judy was 17 and we went to Niagara Falls on a driving trip, which he did not like at all. We never took a driving trip again. He drove a car there, rented a car.
How many times have you driven a car?
Me, I don't drive, period.
Have you never driven a car in your life?
No.
Not once?
No, I never rode a bike, which I liked, wanted to, but I never did.
So you started traveling, is this probably the 1950s, 60s?
Well, she was born 41 and
41.
17.
Yep, okay,
That was the first trip, was Niagara Falls.
right. Then you guys started traveling internationally, right?
We went to, the first trip we took was London, Paris, and Amsterdam. And it cost $385 round trip with breakfast and hotel.
When was that? Do you remember?
Say 1955, does
Okay.
that sound right?
Yeah, yeah. And what were typically what were the structure of these trips? They were with groups, yeah?
Yes, they were all with the escorts.
Uh-huh.
We got escorted everywhere, and they explained everything, and we loved going on trips. We went to Venice. We never went to Italy. We never went to Rome, because my husband said, Rome is just like New York, we don't have to go there, which of course was a big mistake. And I never went to Florence, Italy either, which I understand is quite lovely. But we did go to Venice twice,
Yeah.
and a couple of other places which unfortunately I don't remember at the moment.
What were some of the other countries you went to? Do you remember?
Guatemala,
Yeah?
Curacao,
Wow.
Florida, a lot of states in the United States, a lot. And we did bus trips throughout the United States just so we could see everything that's on the way. We did travel. Where else did I go to?
What were your favorites?
Oh, I loved Guatemala. We enjoyed that a lot. And I loved Venice, was really lovely. And I loved Paris. And I loved London.
Do you love Paris in the springtime?
It was the summertime.
Or do you love Paris in the fall?
I love Paris.
What did you like about Guatemala?
Well, there was a guy there that I think Susan knew, and she let him know, because he lived there. He was a brother of her friend, and he took us around. Because Guatemala, we went without escort. We went on our own.
All right.
And he showed us the whole outskirts, and it was quite interesting. Again, I don't remember that much, but I remember Guatemala.
We have a question from my brother about the international travel. From my brother, Andrew.
I heard you.
He said he wonders if traveling changed your outlook or perception or of your circumstances.
No, not really. I just kept working and hoping to have the money to go on more trips. So far, I didn't get any questions that I'm not angry at.
Good. All right. Good. Just wait. We got more.
I'm going to quit soon.
Andrew also wants to know if you were physically able to do anything now, what would that be?
Oh, I would love to take a trip somewheres.
Where do you want to go?
Actually, I'm not anxious to go to Europe. I would like to go to Fort Collins.
All right, Colorado. Visit the Great Grands?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't mind going to California to see Joyce.
Right.
She calls me up quite frequently.
Andrew also says he's not very good at expressing gratitude. What do you think leads to this shortcoming, and how do you recommend that he can improve?
Oh, is he referring to the fact that he didn't call me often? Tell him he did beautifully with the letter.
Oh, good, very good.
He sent me a letter which was very, very lovely.
And you feel like he expressed his gratitude?
Absolutely, and I have it right here, and I'm not throwing it away either.
He also wants to know, what are the memories that you most cherish?
That's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know. Because I have a lot of things. And right now, I have too many things roaming around in my head that are not so pleasant. So I keep saying I'm going to try to remember the good stuff. But I'm not always, at 101, going on 102, it's hard to remember the good stuff.
Do you have a technique for keeping the dark clouds away from your mind?
I wish I could figure out one. I don't. I know I have friends that take a glass of wine at night, but I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I don't. That's helpful, like, because I don't sleep well.
Have you ever had a glass of wine?
Yeah, but not frequently. Not for 10 years at least. We used to go out to dinner on the neighborhood here, and that was one of their features on the weekend. You got wine with your dinner.
Wine with dinner.
And we shared one little glass of wine. Yeah. We were not drinkers.
So you didn't used to hang out in bars?
I never went to a bar in my life.
You never went to a bar in your life?
I know. Susan and I were discussing that. She says I did, and now that I recall, I used to, when I went to Union Square Cafe, they put you at the bar till you get a table. That's the only, I never went into a bar in my life by myself, and sat there and drank beer. First of all, I hate beer. I never did that, no. I don't remember ever going into a bar.
What's your drink of choice? Wine with dinner?
Now?
Yeah.
Seltzer.
All right, in 100 years, what things or what truths do you find to be constant?
Kindness. Yeah. I want now everybody should be kind to me, and I'm trying to be kind to them. Politeness, patience.
In 101 years, what things do you find have changed and are different in terms of just general traits?
Well, there are too many people right now protesting all over the place. Instead of staying home and doing what they have to do, they're carrying on and protesting and ripping off statues that have been there for 100 years. Nobody minded. Now I don't understand that at all. I'm not looking for any big commotion. I want peaceful. 3 P's. Peace, pleasantness, and politeness.
Those are good P's. All right, and finally, what advice do you have for young people who are just striking out into the world? I'm thinking about your great-grandchildren specifically. What advice do you have for the youngsters?
Just work hard and be good and don't take drugs.
That's pretty simple.
If they'll follow it, they'll be okay.
That's it.
And go to school.
Go to school.
Get your education.
Yeah.
Very important.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So. Wonderful. I made my debut.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a call from Hollywood soon.
I can't. Yeah, right away. Did they have your number?
Cucumber.
Right on.
That's what I used to say. You got my number, cucumber. Or else the children always ask, come home at night, come in the afternoon. What's for supper? Food. That was my answer.
My father used to tell us, if you don't like what's for supper, the next meal is breakfast.
Oh, no, I didn't do that. I never punished anybody to such a degree.
Well, it wasn't punishment. We ended up eating the food anyway. But.
Right. All right, can I get up now?
Of